All right, how's everybody doing? I want an update on my Buick Lucerne. It's a 2008 Buick Lucerne CXL. It's got the 3.8 engine, Series 3, 6-cylinder. As you can see, it's kept up really nice. Now you got to remember, it's a 2008, so we're in 2022. So it's actually 14 years old, and it has 99,000 so many miles on it. 99,000, a little bit extra. So we're almost at the 100,000 mark. But as you can see, cosmetically it's great. Still runs good. I can't complain. Well, I could complain a lot, let's put it that way, for things happening to this damn car all the time. But you know, for almost a 100,000 mile car, you wouldn't think this car had it. You know, everybody gives compliments on this car that it looks great for 100,000 miles and 14 years old. So if you do the math, it averages out about 7,000 miles a year, which is unbelievable, you know. But I just want to go over a few things in this one more time, so that maybe some people don't know out there that have these, or maybe they want to buy these, because you know, you could get these at a pretty good deal. I always thought they were lemon cars. After I received this car, you know, from the start there was things happening. I mean, yeah, everybody says the 3800 3.8 engine 6-cylinder is bulletproof. It might be. Maybe the engine lasts forever, but everything around it goes, including all this, the lights, you know, everything, the struts, the mufflers, you know, your common maintenance stuff. But all the sensors go in this all the time. You know, this car's loaded with a lot of sensors. So one thing I want to point out is, you know, these 3800 engines, again, they might be bulletproof. They're great engines to most people, I guess. Looks great, doesn't it? I mean, you know, you look at the engine, there's a lot of stuff here that is accessible that you could fix pretty easily. You don't have to reach down deep. There are a few items here that's a pain in the ass. I myself, I can't work on cars anymore. I was such a fanatic on my cars, OCD if you want to say. I mean, I have this disease, you know, farmer's lung. Well, it's not actually farmer's lung, it's like it. It's like histoplasmosis. But I've been dealing with it almost all my life, and I've been pretty lucky so far, and now it's getting to me, so I can't even get underneath a car anymore, let alone, you know, wash the damn car. Because there's a lot of different things inside of me that, you know, affects me, my blood pressure and stuff like that, and now it's my heart. So I'm really upset about that, you know, because my mind's still going, but my body's not, you know. And I always loved working on cars. And as you can see, the way, you know, this car is kept up, and some of my cars online, I think I posted some of them that they're, you know, in great shape, especially if I got an older car. So one thing I want to, well, actually quite a few things I want to point out to this car is, you know, the engine looks great, you know, as you look at it, but it's this damn plastic cover shit, you know. You take off this plastic cover, you got an ugly looking engine, you know. I don't care what anybody says. It is absolutely ugly. I think in one of my videos, sometimes I ride without this cover because it holds too much heat. You know, there's some insulation under this cover. And when you put this cover on, you know, you have your fuel injectors and all your wires and a lot of PVC hoses and shit like that. It dries them out, you know, it dries them out too fast. This engine gets hot. I believe this engine is a 195 thermostat, you know, for your radiator hose, to open up at 195 degrees. But I think I have a 180 in there, and it does just fine. So they're hard to find, a 180 degree thermostat to fit this particular engine, but You know, if you don't live in a super cold region, you could put that 180 in. It will lessen the temperature of this engine, because like I said, this gets really hot. But if you want to run it without this cover, you know, which I recommend, then you'll save some of your wires from drying out and your hoses and shit like that. I just had the alternator changed. See that? That's a brand new alternator. And I also had a new belt put on and a new tensioner pulley here. So, you know, almost 100,000 miles this car's due. Now, it's been kept up in the last 70,000 miles. But now there's a lot of things going wrong with it. And that's to be expected, I guess. But, you know, I got 100,000 out of the original alternator. 99,000 or whatever, and it's been really good. Of course, one of the major things in this car is these damn elbows down here. One's right there. Where is it? Yeah, I guess it's right there in my middle. Right in there, you can't really see it. There's a plastic elbow, the coolant elbow there, and there's another coolant elbow down in there. There are videos online. Those go. Made out of plastic. Again, the heat, they disintegrate, the bushing, or the O-rings, I mean. And this car actually had 3 times they've been replaced since new. So, but the first 2 times, I want to recommend you don't buy cheap parts like at AutoZone or Advance Auto, because if you buy those elbows at AutoZone, they're made in China, which most of the shit is. That's why it doesn't last. But the O-rings are smaller than if you went and bought the elbows, the coolant elbows at a dealership. Even though nobody likes going to a dealership, but for some unknown reason, whether they're made in China or Mexico or whatever, it seems like the parts are just a tad better and they'll last longer. So I would highly recommend, if you're going to change these elbows, make sure you go to the dealership to buy those parts. I bought them and I had somebody put them in, and I think they were like $30 for the 2 parts, you know, the 2 elbows. And at AutoZone they were like, I don't know, 15 or something. So make sure you go to the dealership to buy those elbows, because the O-rings are thicker and they seal better, and the antifreeze won't deteriorate the O-ring. So it does deteriorate the O-rings on the AutoZone parts. Even with the metal ones. They have metal ones that are elbows. Fuck those metal ones, I'm telling you right now. Excuse my language. But they deteriorate the O-rings. They're orange O-rings. And the antifreeze will deteriorate them because they're made in China. So do not buy them. I'm just telling you, if you don't want to change these anymore. The coils are accessible. Easy. I had those changed. I just had new spark plug cables, spark plugs. Let me stay on this subject a little bit. I know when I was watching the guy here, there's an easy way to change these plugs. Of course, the first 3 in the front are easy, and then the second 3 in the back, you have to reach underneath here, put a long sleeve on so you don't scratch yourself and shit, and then you could reach the back ones. Even the one that's way over there, you could do the same thing, but I noticed when he did it, you take off the oxygen sensor here, you get undo it here, and then right here is the oxygen sensor, and get your oxygen sensor socket and wrench and an adapter, and then take the oxygen sensor off, and then you'll be able to access with your arm when you stretch it all the way and lean over your fender and take off that spark plug. Now, to get it back on, when I was noticing that he took one of the old boots from the cable, you know, and he cut it, and he put the new spark plug in the boot so it could hold it, you know, just in that boot cover holder of one of the old plugs. And then he reached around and felt the hole and just screwed it in there. So the last 2 you could do like that. But make sure you take off that oxygen sensor. It's a lot easier getting to that last plug. Another thing is, you know, most of these Lucernes, they defect right here on the coolant reservoir. They crack. See, these things are not cheap. They're anywhere from 60 to 80 bucks for a new one. Average is like 70, 80 bucks, I think. So you want to try to glue that, keep it together as much as you can. You'll be spending almost $100 on a new one of these. Of course, your engine mounts will go, especially the one way down there. There's an engine mount right there, and that will go. I had 2 of these replaced since I own the car so far. Because of the torque that's in this engine, you know, it lifts up. So you don't want to zoom these cars at a red light or a stop sign, because you'll put a lot of stress on that engine mount down there, and it will just eventually just break that engine mount, because those goddamn engine mounts are made in fucking China too, you know. And again, buy the engine mount, which I didn't last, because I bought the part, I had them put them in, had the mechanic do it, and hopefully this will last. But I should have bought it at the dealership. It's like another $40, $50 at least, and I didn't listen to myself. But the rear engine mounts back here, that one actually is going to have to be replaced, and then the transmission mount is down there underneath the transmission. So what I'll do is save a few bucks up and probably have those 2 replaced soon. And of course this one here, this is easy to replace. The guy just took off these 2 nuts, bolts, 1 bolt nut, put it on, done. You know, that was easy, accessible. Of course your battery's in your back seat, which is a pain in the ass, and it's a huge battery. But you can access your positive link right here. If you want to jump start it, just put your positive line here, and then your negative over here or on the car somewhere grounded. And if you want to check it with a multimeter, you can also do it from here, because all your relays and some fuses are in here. Let's see what else. Oh, the biggest thing that's going on this car, this had a major leak in the radiator. Can't see it, but right here on the side where the plastic is, there are some videos on there on YouTube. Same exact spot, crack all the way down the side of the radiator. Effing plastic radiators, you know, they're junk. Even though this got 100,000 miles, sure, it lasted a while, but that thing should have lasted a lot more. You know, radiators you don't really want to replace. They should last the life of the car. But that's a very expensive job. But I had, you know, put 2-part putty on it, and it's leaking just a couple drops here and there. It's got to get under and put some more 2-part putty, but it's only a temporary fix, so eventually that's got to be done. You know, sometimes that coolant reservoir will go down a little bit, but it's a very, very minimal leak, because that JB Weld 2-part epoxy did pretty good job so far. But again, it's only temporary. Your mass airflow sensor, you know, should be clean every once in a while. That's easy, accessible. Clean everything, you know, your linkage and all that. And it tells you online how to do that. And next thing is the what do you call it? The rack and pinion. That has a small drop here and there. I tried some Lucas. I tried different things to try to get the seals, you know, swelled up so it doesn't leak. But it still leaks every once in a while. I have a rag under it so it doesn't leak on the ground. And then I just push the rag down in there and prevents it from leaking on the ground, because it's leaking where the steering column control is, down into the steering rack. But that's a big job. That's going to have to be replaced, you know, eventually. These are the 2 biggest jobs so far, the radiator and the rack and pinion. Other than that, like I said, everything else goes. The sensors, your door handles. Let me see if I could go on this side. The door handle gets loose on a lot of these with the brake, like these door handles here. This one right here is loose. Okay. That's loose. That's going to have to be tightened up or taken apart, or a new one or whatever. And then this is actually in good shape, except the seat, you know, is just losing some of its leather thing. These usually break right here, but mine's pretty good. There's a little hole right there that just, you can put some glue on that, 2-part epoxy, but it's still in good shape, as you can see. These always break here. This little fake plastic wood trim right here, they break. There's like a crack. And then your distance sensor up there on your rear view mirror goes. That camera thing, which is right here. That camera. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it or not. But that goes. So, and that's like a $300 part, which sucks. But other than that, you can see it's in decent shape. And just have a pocket full of money if you get one of these, and expect that everything goes in them. All right, so there you go.